But today, we're going to be working up here. I've torn out the carpet here. And what we found, let's see. Here back towards the 2 bedrooms. But this whole spot here, that kind of noise and the fact that they've dumped some screws into it already, signs of water damage for sure. It worries me that everything from probably about the bathroom on back is where they started dumping screws in. But I'm going to tear it all out. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to tear all this out, see what we've got underneath. I'm hoping and praying that when we get here, I'm not finding what we did down in the living room with destroyed plywood. But yeah, that kills me. We're going to make it go away today. In the bedroom, the boys spent some time with screw guns and fixed a lot of the squeaks in here. But this square right here bothers me. Oh, they didn't put any screws in it. I was working there, patching a big hole in the drywall there. So maybe, just maybe, we put some screws down that line of joists. Oh, there's 2 joists that run right there. We put screws in there. Maybe that'll make this one stop squeaking. I'd rather not have to replace any more than I already have to do with this hallway. So let's get to it. Not right next to the nail. Go away at least an inch away. There you go.
Primer makes it hard to like screw it.
No, you gotta hold it a little bit first. There you go. So this is how you start to tear the floor. I run up and down the hall with a saw, circular saw. Make myself a grid pattern. Being in tight quarters like this, I'm cutting it really tight. So I've got something like a foot wide and 2 or 3 feet long. Hi, baby. You notice when they redid the carpet, they put their screws in, regular old deck screws, and that's fine. That's exactly what I would have done too, but it didn't kill the squeak. And I doubt it did when they put them in. So they knew there was a problem. Whoever the floor installer was for the previous owner, and there's a ton of screws up here. They knew there was a problem. You got signs of water damage right there. That had to have been evident. And they didn't fix it. They just dump some screws in it and walk away. Yeah, that's not fixing it. But that's what I'm going to fix now. Alright, that's enough for a morning's work. Got other things to do the rest of the day, but this is it. And you look at how many watermarks there are on this plywood everywhere. But the only board, the only piece that sounds suspect that I will tear up is this one. This one, it squeaks, it doesn't sound right even. This has got a ton of water damage on it, but that could have been done during construction when the house wasn't dried in yet. But this piece, I'm pulling this board out. This board, I'm feeling pretty lucky that's the only one I got to pull out, because that's just a 3 feet run by 30 some odd inches wide. So I'll pull that one out, replace it with another layer of plywood, and then do a top layer of plywood with this. Underlayment here going into the bathrooms. You would expect a ton of damage to be here, and it's actually not that bad. It doesn't squeak or anything. But obviously, not even a toy with the closets. I'll leave them be. Let that stay in there because you're not really walking on that anyway. And this looks okay here in the laundry room. Obviously, the same story as it was downstairs. This additional underlayment and that is coming out. And then I'll put hardy backer on top of that. And this, with the linoleum on it already, I know there's a dude that commented on my last video with hardy backer. I am going to just screw it down, and it will be okay. As I've done it before. When you're going on top of linoleum, you do the spacing that hardy backer calls out for, and it's dimpled on their freaking sheets anyway. It holds. And here in the laundry room, it'll hold just fine. But yeah. I don't know. Actually, out here, I'll be able to trace where my joists are so I can sink screws all the way in. from the hardy backer to the joists, tie it into the structure real well. But yeah, this tile stuff, that's probably not happening until August sometime. Get this done, get the wood flooring in. Wood flooring will go into this little alcove too, into these two closets. The bathroom, I'm not, again, the same redo, but here they went down, so they tore up the old stuff and they put their stuff in, which I find curious. I don't know what I'm going to do about that when I get to this bathroom. But yeah, so that's where we're at for flooring. This will be this week's update. I don't remember what I posted last week. I'd have to go back and look. There's some squeak right here, but I can see the staples move, so we screw that down, we're good to go. And back here too, same story. And it's not like Mossman was saying, just pull the nails out and put a screw down that hole. I've done that trick before too, but this is all stapled. I use flooring staplers, and that's just, you get maybe 15, 20 years out of those things, and then they do start releasing. And especially if your subfloor adhesive didn't work too well, your joist adhesive, obviously it didn't here. But I don't think this watermark really did any damage, because it feels solid enough. But yeah, I'll get you back on when I'm actually putting plywood down. Alright, here's my two weapons of choice for cutting the board out. A good worm drive circular saw, which will drive through just about everything, including the hardware that was used to install it. And one of these, what do you even call these things? That's one of these little saws that goes back and forth. A little high speed deal, has a nice little work light on it, it's pretty cool. One of my favorite new tools, but yeah. Use the saw to plunge cut and do set your depth for a little bit more than 1/2 inch, so you drive through 1/2 inch plywood, and then use the other saw just to cut the rounded area the circular saw didn't get to. You notice I'm not even touching the other boards, but for this particular repair, I may leave this piece, but I'm taking all of these out, and you hear that. Those just don't sound right. And they could be good, and I'm just wrong, and it's just variations of wood, but I'm taking them out, because I'm not having any problems with this thing after I'm done laying down hardwood. So yeah, take them out, basic demolition tools. Hammer, pry bars, set aside cutters for the staplers if I need them, but yeah, let me get to it. Alright, so to get them out, I did a cut across here to smack that board in. You see it's lipped onto one of these joists. But here's what I'm seeing, and this is actually encouraging. Yeah, I'm ripping up a small piece, and it's going to be what it's going to be. But I'm not seeing the delamination in here that I saw in the other ones downstairs. You see there, it does seem to be pretty solid drywall, which means these water stains I'm seeing are probably exactly what I said they were earlier. They're just from when the house was not dried in. So they're water stains that just happened during normal construction, and you look, the plywood here is nice and good. And in there it's good, it's just the top layer that got weathered. So that's fine, that's good. But you also notice, like I was saying, the adhesive had let go. And here it never even had contact. So I mean, that's almost like virgin. That's why this piece squeaks as much as it does, although this part right here under the door jamb gives way more than I want. But I put another layer of plywood on top, it'll be fine. I am not playing around with a cut like that. So I'm just going to pull these other two pieces out, put the new plywood in, and then start running fresh plywood across the top of this stuff all the way down the hallway like I did downstairs. Alright, so here we go. First patch board in. Sad part is I didn't really need to patch them, but there's no way to know that till you tear it out and find out it was okay. But like I showed you earlier, that plywood was okay, it was just weathered on top. But what's kind of concerning down in here is that there is water staining on the back side of this drywall. So when I go to do the laundry room in here, I'm going to have to pay particular attention to waterproofing before I tile, because that is the nearest and most likely culprit of such water. But nothing looks fresh. There's some staining on the joist too. But so for this patch, and why this one piece of plywood was squeaking so much, is they did not glue edge to edge. And me, I take a piece of shim and press it down in there, And I'll do that again, just as the excess was flowing out of the end of the tube after I was done. Press it in this joint between these boards as I go and finish. I've only got 2 sheets of 2x8, so I'll have to go get more plywood, more glue tomorrow. But this batch, at least, I'm going to leave it open. The electrician's here, and that gives him access to some of the work he needs to do. But yeah, I'll patch this on up with fresh plywood. Definitely glue edge to edge, and lock in the edges here, so you keep them all, glue them together. The thing that sucks is during installation, that would have taken them another 5 minutes per sheet, if that. But that would have stopped a lot of this problem. Well, now it's my turn. I'll stop the problem. So yeah, just have to put this sheet in. I'll put it down for now, so the babies can get out of the room and take potty breaks if they need to. But all right, here we go. Ready for the main floor to go down. I got all this subfloor and it's nice and solid. The squeaks are gone, except, frustratingly enough, right about here. And this is that spot where I picked it up because that piece wasn't glued down enough, and since it's such a small span, that's my guess why I'm getting some creaks in here. Put extra screws in it and everything, that's just not gonna change, so it is what it is. But for the most part, this hallway, just that spot. Well, I guess there's some others, but yeah, it's 10 times better than it was without having to rip everything up. But ready for hardwoods up here. That won't be for a little while yet, though. I still gotta do this corner bead here, which means more drywall, my favorite. And then we gotta get the paint done. So once paint done, then I'll actually do the flooring itself. Otherwise, I've been concentrating downstairs on the kitchen. I got the first coat of the color up. Really like it. It's kind of a gold gray, but you can see here I'm patching a bunch of the pinholes. I'll have to sand those, retexture them. Working on, you can see that, knockdown texture where the cabinets will actually show, just so I've got something that doesn't look so half bad, and I'll paint all of that where the cabinets will actually show, so I don't have to be in a rush to get the tile backsplash up. I can do that later. This is the texture where the fridge is going to be at, and this is all heavy knockdown versus the orange peel here. With all these pinhole fills, I'm going to have to orange peel that again. This one I didn't show at all, but this was a pain in the butt to get done because there was 2 layers over here of drywall versus, when I put it up, 1 layer. So you've got a 1/2 inch difference between that and that. And so to feather it out so it's not as visible to the eye, would have been nice if I could have done 1/4 inch drywall, but I don't want to buy a full sheet of 1/4 inch drywall. So what I ended up doing, which seems to be working pretty well, is 1/4 inch MDF, because you can get that in 2x2 sheets, and for less than the drywall would have been. So took the 1/4 inch MDF and cut it down to 6 inches, and that gives me about a foot, maybe more, 15, 16 inches worth of time to feather it down so it's not as visible to the eye. And I'm not so worried about that because the stuff the original builder did out here on this soffit, there's a huge dip right in here. So perfection? No, I'm not going to get perfection because the house ain't perfect to begin with. So tomorrow when this is all dried up, I'll sand it one last time. I'll do some more of the knockdown texture on it, and then I'm painting the rest of this room. Obviously where the cabinets hang and where the cabinets sit, I'm not going to paint. I'm just going to do that stripe there, up around the window. Yeah, that window's unfinished and it will be until I do tile, but this means we can actually move in sooner, and I'm not waiting on me to actually do the tile backsplash. I can do that this winter or whenever I get to it. Too much else I got to do this summer. But that's kind of the update for this week. This is where we're at. That upstairs hallway, and then this stuff. Did that hallway in between coats of this, letting this get dried, so things are definitely out of sequence. You're seeing things out of order for sure and certain, but the work is progressing. So yeah, I do like this color. Definitely first coat up there, you can see stripes of the primer still showing through, so when we get the second coat on all of this, it'll look awesome. But yeah, it's nice to have that window uncovered again. But yeah, that's where I'm at this week. I'm about to call the cabinet guy and see if I can get him scheduled to install on Monday, Tuesday, we'll see. It'll be awesome to have cabinets in here Monday or Tuesday, and then that's when it really starts looking good. Another week or two after that for the stone countertops. And then July 31st is when we're scheduled for appliance delivery, so this kitchen's going to come together real quick. Yeah. Of course, I am leaving that there, the water line markings, so that way the cabinet guys hit it. They have no excuse. It's there. I'll paint over this section of it, but yeah. I'm leaving that there on purpose as a warning to them. Don't go anywhere near that stud line because that water's right there. All right, here's where it is. For those of you that actually care, that's the update for this week. That's how far we are on this remodel. We'll see you guys on the next one.